So, let's check this out. So let's say you're planning dinner.
Okay, MetaConnect just happened. Here's what you need to know about your Quest 2 if you are a Quest 2 user, along with everything major that got revealed regarding the Quest 3, including its ability to perform full body tracking with its own inside-out cameras. More importantly, the Quest 2. Is it dying? Is it on its deathbed? Or is it flat out dead? So, is it dead? Sort of? You can make a case for the Quest 2 is alive and well. We have plenty of new content updates and users to come. It's so good, man. You could also make a case now for it's all over. I'm gonna hang myself from a wind turbine. So today I'm gonna wrap up everything you need to know as a Quest 2 owner or potential Quest 2 owner now that the prices are lower than ever, and if Mark Zuckerberg should shave his head bald and take up a career as a bowling pin, as clearly most of you guys seem to think so. And join my Discord over at discord.gg/GetHip if you voted for bowling pin. And if anything I go over today is still helpful in any Zuckerberg bowling pin shape or form, a like and sub would go a long way in keeping, albeit brain dead, but honest, non-meta bootlicking content alive, as there is few of us left at this point. Basically, for those of you out of the loop, Meta won't allow non-meta funded creators like me and Thrillseeker to MetaConnect. That's why we were excluded from the early access to the Quest 3, if any of you guys noticed, and MetaConnect, and the one-on-one talks with the heads of Meta. So as you may be able to tell at this point, there's a little bit of silly nonsense happening regarding how Meta has intentionally tried to essentially, if we boil it down to what it is, buy out creators to say nice things about the Quest 3. And those of us who don't want to be a part of that get banned from MetaConnect. Bing, bang, ding, 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 okay, technically, to the best of my knowledge, Meta hasn't actually paid for any of these reviews, but has instead incentivized them with the headset itself and invites to MetaConnect. Basically, Meta has a creator program that consists of YouTubers that Meta prefers, aka creators that are generally less harsh or critical of the company. And technically, these creators aren't beholden to the company and can technically say what they want. But realistically, when you have a multi-billion-dollar company incentivizing you to cooperate with them by being sent headsets early and receiving free promotion via their social media and even presented on the Quest app's homepage, it's at least fair to say that you likely won't be as impartial as you should be in your reviews or other content. This is made worse by the fact that allegedly, according to developers on Twitter, to attend MetaConnect, not only do you have to be a part of Meta's creator club, but you also have to sign a non-disparagement agreement to even attend. 6. A Live developer also mentioned that developers that he knows personally who have criticized Meta have had their funding cut. Future GetHip here. It's important to note that Meta creator TechManju on Twitter, who actually attended the event, said that he didn't have to sign anything and that he believes that people stating that they did have to sign anything is essentially spreading fake news or are just upset that they couldn't attend personally. Since this, I've asked a few other people who are a part of the program if they had to sign anything, and I've gotten conflicting reports on whether or not they did or didn't. Allegedly, this program has also been reformed multiple times, going from a more restricted program that didn't let you say as much to a more open program that doesn't interfere with your content so much. But anyway, back to the video, because the rest of the stuff I'm about to say still applies. So essentially, Meta has created a real-life echo chamber out of the remains of what once was an open and public event that allowed for critical discourse, which is now devoid of Palmer Luckey or John Carmack. And anyone who is there seems to be, in some way, shape or form, incentivized by Meta. Also, because of this, Meta get a solid 2 weeks of generally positive reviews from said incentivized creators before independent channels like mine, Thrills, Testicles, etc. gets a hold of it. I think it's also important to highlight that some of these Meta creators are explicitly using affiliate codes for the Quest 3 in their review videos. So not only are these creators in the Meta creator program, but Meta are also flying these creators out to demo the headset early and create review videos that if the viewer purchases the headset through their link, they take a cut of the profit. So naturally, even if these creators are open and honest in their videos, there is a very, very clear incentive here to do the exact opposite. And at bare minimum, viewership trust goes out the window. It's impossible to talk about this whole situation without incidentally throwing shade at any of these creators, which sucks because I don't have really anything against them. But naturally, when you explain what they have opted into, it's pretty clear to an average viewer, like many of you, what this whole situation actually is and what it infers. I think that this entire situation is just cringe, to say the least. You guys aren't dumb. Shown by the reception that the Meta creators have had in the past, it's clear the general public see through this charade. Don't attack these creators. I know a lot of them personally, and they're good people. They're nice people too. And I think Andrew Bosworth sitting down with the creators is an amazing idea. That's great. great, but sitting down with creators that were handpicked by Meta and incentivized by Meta is suddenly a very different paradigm. When the Quest 2 released, Facebook was universally hated, like badly, and I think a lot of that criticism forced Facebook into being far more scrutinizing over their new flagship headset at the time, and resulted in a lot of the advancement and great updates that we now have today. I don't want to lose that because Meta won't listen to outside voices the way that Oculus did. I'm sorry I had to go through all that. I want to get that out of the way. This entire event hurt my f***ing head. I'll talk about the other reasons why in a moment.
Time for a selfie.
Shut the fuck up! So why am I bringing all of this creator stuff up in a video about the Quest 2's current lifespan? Well, this sort of behavior is exactly what concerns me when Meta claim that they'll continue to support this headset and market it as almost like a Quest 3 Lite, because based on their non-communicative and echo chamber-like behavior, I'm concerned they won't be as open and as communicative as they should be with the player base and the community about how they're going to address this now aging headset, other than please buy more of them at a discounted price. I think it's safe to assume, as much as Meta claims to support the Quest 2, realistically with the headset double the power output releasing, once the user base for the Quest 3 outweighs that of the Quest 2, you're going to see a very quick shift in priorities for not only Meta but also the entire VR industry. Games will quickly switch to focusing their development for the Quest 3, and Meta will quickly phase out updates for the Quest 2 and resort to pushing relatively insignificant hotfixes and security updates to the headset like they did once the Quest 1 had diminished in popularity. And in fairness to Meta, Andrew Bosworth, Meta's CTO, echoed a similar sentiment, stating that games they announced at the gaming showcase are all playable on both the Quest 2 and Quest 3, and that they expect that to be the norm for quite a while. He also says, of course, mixed reality and the higher power titles may start to target the Quest 3 over time. Just like with the PS5, when it released, many complained about the lack of true PS5 games. Most of the games releasing for the first few years of the console's life cycle would also release for the PS4, just like Miles Morales, hindering the graphical fidelity and the scale of the PS5 versions. And only now, 3 years later, now that more people have a PS5, are we starting to see truly next-gen titles like Spider-Man frickin' 2. I'm so goddamn hyped. The point I'm making here is you, the player base, the community, you have the power here. And if you don't want to make the switch, you can't afford to make the switch to the Quest 3, and there's enough people in the same boat as you, developers, and Meta will see the incentive to continue to support you and the Quest 2. On top of that, to the best of my knowledge, hearing this through the grapevine, developers for the Quest 3 also have to make functioning Quest 2 versions of their game as mandated by Meta. I've heard this from word of mouth. I don't know how technically true this is. I'm not sure. So if you can't afford a Quest 3 yet and you're worried about your Quest 2 being quickly dropped by Meta, don't. Because this won't happen as long as enough of you are using this headset. And in reality, it's probably going to take a year or 2 years before the Quest 3's user base significantly outweighs that of the Quest 2's. Now, a lot of that will depend on Meta's advertising budget for the new headset, how they behave as a company, especially towards their own community, and your willingness to buy the new headset. Speaking of the new headset, it's pretty clear that this is a very good upgrade. The pass-through looks astonishing. The graphical fidelity increase in games is astonishing. I mean, look at some of these comparisons. Quest 3 users will be getting a significant step up in graphical fidelity over the Quest 2 versions of these games. I think perhaps the hardest part about this whole situation isn't even the Quest 2 dying, but dealing with the feeling of being left out as a Quest 2 user. Quest 3 users will have a much better headset and much better versions of these games. The fact that they confirmed the headset will be capable of almost full body tracking just using its inside out cameras was actually expected. I talked about this ages ago. Just saying. Essentially, the headset will be able to use its side cameras which face downward to track your wrists, your elbows, shoulders, and torso. Meta posted some examples of this system in use and it looks pretty damn good. Couple this with Meta's lower body AI algorithm, which will basically guess where your legs are based upon what the headset can track of your upper body. I mean, this is basically a full body tracking system. And all of this should be coming in an update for the headset around December. There's also a bunch of small extras that make this headset that much better, like a 2-step trigger, head strap options from launch, a charging dock accessory, pro straps, allegedly a wider FOV than the Quest 2. Thank God. This looks like a great headset. And I'll talk about that more in future videos, obviously, when I actually get a hold of one, because I'm not a Meta creator. There's also plenty of people screaming about the headset out right now. Incentivized or not, there will be a lot of honesty in those videos too, so go check them out. So yeah, if you care enough about these upgrades, the price tag seems to be worth it. Obviously, that's subjective to your own income and your current life position, but as a generalization, this looks very legit. But I want to know what you guys think of the Quest 3 down below, or do you think Mark Zuckerberg should shave his head bald and take up a career as a bowling pin? So in reality, at least for the next year or two, if you're a concerned Quest 2 owner, worried about if you'll be left out, don't be. So good, man. Future GetHip again, I've just realized while editing this video, I literally haven't talked about Meta's new Ray-Ban glasses or Meta's new celebrity AI feature, primarily because I don't want to talk about it.